So I'm leaving to Rome for a couple of days. I have my guide with the places I want to see, and I already booked my tickets for the museums. And I am preparing what I want to take with me as a sketchbook. Because I want to fill a sketchbook. I'm not sure I can fill a sketchbook in 4 days, but let's go for it. And this time I want to be brave and change a bit the way I am doing my travel sketchbook. Usually I would take my watercolor, but this time I want to go with a fountain pen that I have filled with this carbon ink, which is waterproof. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm taking a water brush. I need to fill it because it's pretty empty. And I want to use brush pens. Why not? Just because this is something I'm longing to try for a sketchbook during a travel. So I have a very limited color palette, and this is on purpose, even if I don't need this one. Yeah, just those 5. Just because when you are on location, it's pretty difficult to grab a bunch of colors. I think it's easier if you have a limited color palette. And also a washi tape, orange like this one, just to tape some stuff in there. I don't know, receipts on tickets and whatever ephemera I can grab my hands on. And I've made some tries with the colors, and this is the kind of thing I want to go for. So, wish me luck. I have an empty sketchbook, which is pretty large. This is a size A5, and it has 20 pages, which is a lot during 4 days, but I do my best. And it's a 160 GSM. So I was in the bus going to the airport, and I began to draw what I saw, which was not very interesting, but just to practice. And I was out of home for maybe half an hour, and I already regretted to take only the brush pens, because I really don't like what I'm doing with the brush pen. It's rough, it's visible brush marks. I don't like it. So this is a page I did in the bus, and then things went really bad. We had some times to spare in Nantes, so we visited an exhibition about Suzanne Valadon, which is a French paintress. She was a model initially, and then she learned how painters would paint her, and then she applied it to her own style of painting. So I did some drawings in the exhibition, and I am cutting away some papers from the museum just to add into the page, because this is a very colorful paintress and I love her style, but it's pretty difficult to try to render something, especially in a travel sketchbook where you don't have some detailed finished paintings. You are just sketching to remember the main things. Here, what is important to me is how many colors she had in her body and how colorful was the portrait that she was painting. And she was a female painter, very famous, but only at the end of her life. So pretty shameful. If you don't know about her, I encourage you to look for her. It's Suzanne Valadon. And we always have time to spend in the airport sketching people. It's really an exercise because it's going very fast. People are moving pretty fast. Well, now it's time to go to Rome, and the weather was just incredible, and so many orange trees everywhere. I had to add oranges to my sketch. This is supposed to be a self-portrait, so don't judge me. It was done pretty fast from a photo, obviously, because I don't have a mirror with me when I'm traveling. And just back home, I thought that adding all the oranges everywhere would be fun. So I'm using watercolor because I am really regretting not to taking it with me on trip. And as I don't have watercolor with me, I just have my brush pens. I am using actual coffee to paint in the sketchbook. And as we have to move, I need to remove the excess coffee on my paper. So it's not really dark at the end, but that's the way it is. And here we found some place to sit in front of a church, and I am drawing the church without any prior sketch, just using a fountain pen. Ooh, look at the pigeon. And I am drawing what I see. It's pretty quick because the weather is gorgeous, but it's pretty cold. And I'm sitting on the stone, and I don't want to stay too long because I am really freezing. I would say my ASS, but I don't want to say this word on YouTube. Then filling the sky, but this blue is not the color of the sky in Rome. The sky was so bright, full, so cerulean. Not this blue is more lavender, so Christmas time. Some bells, love that. And tonight we were at the restaurant, and as I still don't have my watercolor with me, I used actual wine to paint the glass and the jug of wine. Sorry. Yeah, I'm laughing because we had a great time. If you want to learn how to make your own travel sketchbook, both on location and at home in your studio, in your little art corner, I have a class, a complete class with step-by-step instructions with different themes you can use in your sketchbook, and I link it in the description under the video. And you can be overwhelmed by so much beauty, so many grandiose. It's better to stick to draw stuff that is easier to handle. Now I am outside drawing what I see from the bench, and I am still really amazed by the blue of the sky. So when I am back home, I am painting the sky with acrylic paint, because I had this cerulean blue that is exactly the color I was looking for. And for this specific drawing, there was a tree just in the middle of my view, and I felt it was important for the composition. So I am painting only the tree and leaving the white of the statues and the buildings untouched. So I think it's pretty much fun. And we saw a gorgeous statue by Le Bernin, which is a French sculptor, and he was very active in Rome during 1650s, something like that. And this one is called, I cannot say it because it's a forbidden word again, it's a RAPE of Proserpine. And this is really gorgeous statue besides what it's representing, but the statue by itself is really, really gorgeous. And of course I'm not Le Bernin, the sculptor, so all I can do is a rough sketch and showing the shadow with brown sepia watercolor, just to try to render the idea of it, because of course I cannot give it justice, but this is what it is. What I like to do is draw on location, because it's a moment of rest during these heavy days, because we were working, I don't know, maybe 20,000 steps per day. So from time to time it's good to pose on bench and draw what you see. And as I didn't have my watercolor with me, again, I decided that I would add the color at home, because I wanted to render this blue sky. It was so bright. And actually, after making several tries, I went for acrylic with a cerulean blue, which is the closest of the sky, and adding watercolor with the acrylic, something I never did before, but this is also an experiment because sketchbooks are for having fun. They are not for masterpieces, well, in my opinion. And then we have this gorgeous view on the Colosseum in Rome with a ton of things to draw. So I took an anchor, which was tree in the middle, and then I tried to fill everything. If you look closely, it's not really connecting, but who cares? You have the general idea. And time to color this. So the sky is with watercolor, but for the rest of it, I decided to go with acrylic inks because they are highly pigmented, very strong in color, and all the green, I was too lazy to use my watercolor to do it because it's a bit too long. As is this video, by the way. It's beginning to be too long, so I'm not showing you the rest of the pages, just the final result. At the end, I never did what I planned, which was to use only brush pen in my sketchbook. This is the page I did with brush pen, and I really didn't like it. So when I was back home, I had fun with watercolor. This one was made on location, this one too. This one was drawn on location, but I added the color after. Yeah, this one I didn't touch it. And yes, it's messy, but it's a sketchbook. It's not a masterpiece. It's meant to have memories of the trip I did with my son in Rome for 4 days. It was really nice, and when I look at it, everything is coming back. This page is really strong. Yeah, it's supposed to be me, but maybe when I was a kid, because I absolutely don't look like that right now. This is some priest we met during the trip. Another kind of priest, if I could say so. Some bleeding with my ink. I have to check that this ink is not waterproof actually. And some collage to finish the sketchbook. And I do have 2 pages left, but I think, considering that it was only a 4 days trip, even if everything went wrong, I am pretty happy with my sketchbook right now because it's double-sided effect. You are drawing on location, so it forces you to take time to pause for a bit because we are always rushing. And when you are back home, you are living again the trip, scrolling through your camera roll and taking the time to select a specific image and to say, okay, I will draw this one as a memory. In a couple of years, I will be happy to scroll through this sketchbook, which was Rome 2023. And I also have Rome. This one is 2016. So it's interesting to see the difference of style between 7 years. Oh my gosh. Look at this one. I'm really not good at self-portraits, but that's for another story. So I hope you liked this video and see you next time for another video. Bye bye. Au revoir. Ciao.